Hey y'all, welcome to Wild Blue. I've done a few videos in the past on the topic of alien abduction, but we're really gonna get into it on this one, talking about how these abduction experiences usually go, what leads up to them, and then finally what you can do to protect yourself from them. So stick around and welcome to Wild Blue.
Aliens are among us. No doubt about it.
Now, alien abduction is such a broad topic, it's kind of hard to know where to begin. So I'm going back to the beginning when these abductions first kind of started taking place, at least in the eye of the general public. Now, alien abductions really took off in the 1950s and 60s during the sci-fi craze of that era, as we were going into the atomic age. But if we go back even further, you can find some stories of some kind of alien abductions that are very similar to the accounts that have been told in more recent times. Might even compare them to the modern encounters with your current day E.T.s. One of the first recorded instances of an attempted abduction took place in 1896. Near the town of Lodi, California. There was a guy walking with his friend, leaving the Fresno Citrus Fair, when they came upon two humanoid beings that attempted to grab them and pull them back to their spaceship. The guy's name was Colonel H.G Shaw, Civil War veteran, with his friend Camille Spooner. They was just walking home and these tall, freakish beings came upon them and tried to pull them back into their spaceship or whatever. They described it as an airship. It's real interesting looking at the 1896 and 1897 airship craze. Definitely another topic we'll need to get into in a later video. So they described these beings as being about 7 foot tall. They had some kind of real thin hair on them, looked almost monkey-like. They had these tiny little hands, these big old feet, twice the size of your average person's foot, and they had some monkey-like qualities to them, looked more like, the opposable thumbs that the monkeys have on their feet. It almost sounds like could have been some sort of Sasquatch. Maybe that means that there's a connection between the Sasquatch and the aliens. But definitely a topic for another video there, but we'll continue on with this story. So basically this colonel and his friend, they was walking back, and as these aliens came upon them or grabbing them, they realized these skinny guys were pretty weak and they fended themselves off, and then they took off, and the aliens took off in their airship, never to be seen again. And then you've got cases of sleep paralysis going back for hundreds of years, maybe even further. There's all kinds of depictions of people waking up and being frozen in their beds with the depiction of some kind of demon or an old hag sitting on their chest. It was really kind of a common occurrence, enough so that these artworks were generated back in the day. And there was one guy I read about in a Reddit post. Apparently he was a kid in 1947, about 5 years old, claimed to have been abducted by what you would describe as your modern gray aliens. And this was well before the craze that came later on, especially with Betty and Barney Hill. Now this guy described being abducted. He didn't really remember it initially, but later on I believe it came back to him. He described having some sort of implant put into his ear, and that was something that affected him throughout his life. And he was also abducted multiple times. And that's a common thing with these abduction experiences. Experiencers tend to be abducted multiple times rather than just being a single one-time event. Anyways, going back to Betty and Barney Hill, that's kind of when the alien abduction craze took off. These two average everyday Americans just driving around and late at night, and next thing they know they're waking up in the middle of the road, just stopped there, have all kinds of lost time, and over time they went through hypnosis and regained some of their memories, and that's where we get the stories we got today regarding their experience. And their experience basically defines what most experiencers experience when they're pulled out of their beds or cars or whatever and experience an abduction. And that's kind of the standard, you know. People will wake up and feel like something strange is going on. They won't know what it is. They experience some lost time. They may not remember much, if anything, but if they do remember something, or if they go through hypnotic regression and the memories come back, it generally goes something like this. They wake up in the middle of the night around 3 to 4 a.m. They may not see anything at first, and then these gray aliens appear, sometimes just materialize, float across the floor, or scutter about on their little legs, and they may be walking up to their bed or even standing over them already, looking down at them with their soulless eyes. Then they somehow find their way into the alien spaceship, whether they're materializing through their bed and up through their ceiling, or flying out their window, or just next thing they know, they're strapped to this table here in this alien spacecraft, and you got these aliens standing around performing all kinds of experiments on them, probing them and talking to them through some telepathy. Sometimes it's coherent, sometimes it's just some random thoughts that appear to be going on in these gray aliens' heads, usually the drones, so to speak, so they may not have as complex of thoughts as some of the higher level aliens out there. But all in all, it's a truly terrifying experience for anyone who's ever had to go through it. And they may be given a tour of the spacecraft and some sort of discussion on their purpose for being here. They may be shown a window view looking out into space, seeing Earth from a distance, something just to let them know that they're not home and they're a long way from getting back to it. And they may say they're here to bring about world peace or solve some sort of reproductive crisis within their alien race, and that's why they need you there. Abductees may also see some kind of overseer, whether it be a mantis or a reptilian or even another 6-foot gray that's hanging around behind. And after the aliens have finished their probe and experiments and you're returned home, the aliens use some sort of mind-wiping technology, because most experiencers go on to not actually remember the events that took place. Maybe just the bits and pieces of it until they undergo some sort of other hypnosis or something like that. And as I said, many people are abducted multiple times. Some people seem to have been part of this alien hybrid program, especially women who may be given this baby alien to carry like a child of their own, only to have it taken away later on when the aliens come back to retrieve their young. And then later on, a future abduction experience may involve these aliens showing their little alien child and letting them know there's a connection between them and this little freakish human alien baby. Some people even claim to have seen their alien offspring here on Earth roaming around just as a human would. You can only speculate as to what their purpose is here on Earth. It's definitely some weird stuff. Not something I'd want to go through. So anyway, let's get to the real question here. What can we do to defend ourselves against being abducted by these aliens? Now there's a book out there, it's called How to Defend Yourself Against Alien Abduction, written by Ann Druffel in the early 90s. It goes into detail defining 9 techniques that can be used to keep these aliens away from you. Now these are the 9 techniques she described in her book. You can build up your own mind strength, use your own mental strength to block their telepathy and block their efforts in trying to take you away. You can physically struggle against them and fight back. Most of these guys, these aliens, are real small and weak and kind of pathetic as far as their physical stature goes. So if you can get past the mind control devices they use, you may be able to fend them off just by pushing them away, like Colonel Shaw did back in the day. And you just tell them to go away, just be real straight with them, say get out of here, and then that may work. You can use that same rage and guard your loved ones if you have any inkling that they may be abducting one of your family members or friends or whatever. That moves on to the next one, seek and strengthen numbers. There have been cases of people being abducted laying right next to someone who's there with them, but there's still a better chance if you got 2 people together, or even more than that, there'd be a less likely chance that you didn't get abducted. The next thing is use your intuition. If you can have a sense that they may be coming for you, you can be prepared for them. Use some sort of other techniques discussed before, and all kind of goes hand in hand as to what you do to get rid of them. You can also create kind of a metaphysical shield around yourself, and that kind of goes back into the the mental strength you're building up against these guys. You're basically using your mental strength in more of a preparedness fashion to prevent them from even coming towards you in the beginning. You can use some kind of repellents. I know there's places out there that sell alien spray, which is probably some kind of derivative of bear spray. I don't know the efficacy of these things when they're actually being used, but that's an option out there. The last one here is appealing to a higher power. That may be saying the Lord's Prayer or saying a Psalms 23 or something like that. Something to tell these aliens that they're messing with the wrong person. You've got someone who's got your back. Many times that's all it takes to get these guys to hightail it out of there back to wherever they've come from. And so that's basically a Cliff Notes version of the book. You can get out there and read it yourself and see if there's anything you can apply in your own life, especially if you're dealing with this yourself. So anyway, that's it for this video. Hope y'all like and subscribe. If y'all don't like and y'all don't subscribe, there'll be plenty more videos to watch out there. YouTube's a big place. Don't get lost out there on the weird part of it. Unless you're already there, maybe that's where I'm at right now. But anyway, check out our Facebook page, check out our website. If you got any stories or anything you'd like to share, send an email to wildbluetvstories@gmail.com. You may be featured in a video here describing your story or showing your video or whatever you got. And with that said, Wild Blue out.